Let's talk
Relationships on
on
You
You
Me
Me Radio.
Radio.
So, what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business.
And love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty.
And DJ KTE. Let's talk
Relationships
on
on You
You
Me
Me Radio.
Radio.
So, what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business.
And love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
And DJ KTE.
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UME Radio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on Yumi Radio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments for the grown.
Get the UME Radio app to listen wherever you are. That is UME Radio, one word. Welcome to Let's Talk Relationships.
Yes, sir.
It is really good to be here tonight. We're looking for an awesome show tonight. And
Yes, we are.
let me just say that to our audience that Lady Misty is a trooper, man. She's just one of those strong black women who just knows how to make it happen. And she may not be at her best tonight as far as her feeling in her body, but listen, she's here. She's a soldier, and she's sticking by her co-host. And truly thank you for that, for being such a partner tonight.
Thank you so much, DJ KTE. I'm trying to
Yes.
hold it down like a G.
Yes, the GMAC. So I pray that you'll feel better throughout this show, and that
Thank you.
we'll make it happen.
Yes. So, good night, everyone. Thank you for keeping our company tonight. We are in season 3, guys, and tonight we're going to be talking about till death do us part.
Wow. I wonder which
Till
data we talked about.
and that's DEBT, not death as in dying, but death. We're talking about money tonight.
Yeah.
We're talking about money tonight. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Just to say, the views and opinions expressed in this video and on the Yumi Radio YouTube channel, website, or radio station do not necessarily reflect the opinion of Yumi Radio or hosts and Yumi Radio YouTube channel and the radio station. All topics are for entertainment purposes only. News, information, sharing, TV material audiences viewer discretion is advised and all
It's certainly
commentary is
advised.
alleged. So
And folks, tonight the intent of tonight's show is to what, Misty? What's the intent of tonight's show? I believe it's
So, the intent tonight is to
mhm.
examine how money affects relationship. Does it
Okay.
matter? It's your thoughts. So,
Oh.
I want to go into saying welcome, welcome, welcome. As usual, we want to say welcome and thanks to our sponsors. So, special thanks to our sponsors: umedigital.inc.com, Mindfulness in Ministry Masterclass, mycoachministry.com. Check out their courses on Udemy, accessbusinessstreet.com, an empowerment tool to help faith based leaders build a business around their ministry. And of course, shopandown.com, your personal online shopper and e-commerce store designer exclusively for sellers and buyers. When you go over to shop and own, guys, don't forget to use the discount code LTR Save for discounts on exclusive products. We want to say a
Yes.
shout out as well to all the persons in the virtual space. So tonight we want to say welcome and thank you for joining us. Those who are right here with us in the Zoom room, good night. Those of you who are on the YouTube channel or YouTubers, good night. Those on Stitcher, Spotify, Live 365, TuneU, Podbean, Google Podcasts, TuneU, iHeartRadio, iTunes Podcast, Google Play Store, or the App Store, and of course, those on UME Radio.
Yes, yes, yes.
Good
And let me just
night,
say
and
this.
thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. And let me just say officially, this is DJ KTE. And we have in the house Lady Misty, the one and only. So, folks, as you hear a lot of things that were mentioned just now, I just want you just to know that we are about impacting 1 million lives. So, not just about some websites or some podcasts, it's really about empowering people, having a space and a stage and a place where you won't hear the typical sensationalism and the salacious stuff about negativity. Is really about how we are going to empower ourselves with positive messages, positive energy, and people who are doing things and making it happen. And that's what we're about tonight.
Yes, sir, that is so true. So, we are going straight into our hot topics tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
And the hot topic talks about mixing politics and religion. And we're talking about tonight Paula White's prayer. So, true or false? When
Hmm,
religion and politics ride in the same cart, the
hmm,
whirlwind follows. And that's by Frank Hibbert. Is that true or false?
hmm. That's a very interesting topic there because it is very touchy for many, you know. Some want to
Yes,
have them separate, and then some say they are inseparable. So
that's
somehow or
right.
the other, they're naturally intertwined. And but hey, I guess that's where everyone's opinions uh, do say something. So we're
All
here
right.
to see about this.
All right. So before we go into the prayer, so copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Yes. So we have what two? Go ahead, Lady Misty.
Yes, so according to reports from the New York Times, it says Paula White, a Florida televangelist and religious advisor to President Trump, defended herself Sunday after a video circulated online of her calling for the miscarriage of satanic pregnancies.
Hmm.
A language that she used was taken out of context by critics, and of course, that's according to reports in the New York Times. It says the megachurch pastor and televangelist is under fire again in the media for delivering a prayer service last Wednesday night in an effort to secure Trump's re election, as reported by USA Today. During the service, which was streamed on Facebook Live, White Cane called on angelic reinforcement from angelic reinforcement in quotations from the continents of Africa and South America. I quote, I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it's done. End quote, she says. She continues, and I quote, for angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. In the name of Jesus, from South America, they're coming here. End quote. In her prayer, White Cane is also heard speaking in tongues, an occurrence in which a speaker talks in a language they do not know, usually during an intense religious experience. Speaking in tongues has been practiced in multiple Christian denominations as well as other religions. After the clip went viral online, several remixes were created. One of the stories shared on, and this is by OrlandoWeekly.com, reads, Internet comes through with trap, house, and Wu-Tang remixes of Paula White's epic rant. We'll share with you a clip of one of the versions shared.
I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. It is done. It is done. 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 It is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. It is done. I hear victory, 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 done. It is done. I hear victory, 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 victory. Africa right now. Africa right now. Hamanda ata ata ranta deda baka sanda ata ambo osa tata rinte eke banda ata rinte banda ata ata ranta deda baka sanda ata ambo osa tata rinte eke banda ata rinte. Victory, 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 victory. Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
Wow.
You know, people think of everything, don't they? They think of every kind of ideas
Listen,
to.
we take nothing seriously. I'm just saying, but
I mean, it's funny, but it's not funny at the same time, you
I
know?
know. Yes.
But it's the world we're in. And these are images that we spit out, that spit out to our to people. So whether it be kids or adults, but it is there. And we can't hide from it. It's just amazing how they treat these things. But hey, let's dive in and see what we can get out of it.
But the story, though, how does one validate religion and politics? And with with her rhetoric and what she has had been saying in her prayer, how do you see this, DJ KTE? What are your
Oh,
thoughts on the matter?
wow. You know, it's funny. As I looked at politics over the years, I realized that, well, I used to believe that politics and church was something that was supposed to be in two different worlds. And I didn't see them coming together harmoniously. I didn't. But as I got older, you know, got a little more in tune with how the world works. Everything that we pretty much do, it involved politics. Whether it's a new road, a new bridge, a new school, a new jail, where it's put, you know, everything involves some bureaucracy, some politics involved. How much money is going to be spent, and where it's going to be spent, and how it filters down to the different economic segment of our society. You know, who are more
Yes.
privileged and who are not. So I think as I look at politics, it's somewhat
Mhm.
intertwined. The issue that I have with politics and the church is how they treat politics as my side opposed to the right side. You know, it's like I give an example as I look at how look at Trump's behavior, not that that should be the focus of everything, but you can call him out on his behavior as well. You can talk about his policies, which is important if they are really going to work for us as a people, as a nation, and also as a Black people. We can identify those things and see those are good stuff, but also call him out when he does say stuff, when he's either sounds sexist or racist, or he sounds as if he wants to disenfranchise some, or create a sense of war and tension. He should be called out too by the same religious groups. But when there's silence about that, when there's a silent voice, then that's when I have an issue with that.
And even with just the remixes, because quite a number of remixes have been done,
Surface. Mm-hmm.
and yes, have been circulating. And it begs to question, what do we do when religion and politics marry, and then it becomes a joke? I see where everything religious, especially when it comes across in this kind of way, it's usually taken for a joke. It's not taken seriously. And I don't know if it's done for us to swallow it easier. Does it mask the real issue?
Mm-hmm.
Is it easier for us to understand when it's broken down that way? But religion, especially, and when I say religion, I mean in the era of Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those religions where people, unfortunately and realistically, don't take as seriously as the other religions of the world,
Yes.
because it is mixed with so many diverse things. My personal view on the whole matter is, I don't have a problem with you having your own uh, political side.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you want to be a Republican or a Democrat, that's your right.
Or an independent.
Or an independent, is your right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the right to own a side, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I think it becomes dangerous when you pull it into the religious space,
Mm-hmm.
and you become vocal. I think in areas like this, even if you are an advisor,
Mm-hmm.
it's my personal view that you should be objective on matters like these. So your conversation comes across as authentic and not biased.
That's a great
So
point.
that's
Great
my
point.
that's my view. That's my view on it.
Yeah.
But
And you know what, Lady Misty, what I found it interesting too is that, if you're a Christian, Christian, or you say religious person who believes in God, that he's the one that controls things and he knows things, and he pretty much has the
yes,
final say. If you are trusting God and you're in politics from a religious standpoint, now at the end of the day, it's not the man that's going to make it happen. It's going to be God, in the sense of he is the final authority. So when these Christians don't have a balance, or don't approach it from a balanced way, as if it doesn't matter who's in power, my faith should be what in the God that I serve. So you can't
okay,
let it seem as if he loses, he's hopeless. If he loses, all of a sudden
right,
God loses power because your side didn't win. That's where I think those things can be very dangerous, and we lose ground and lose credibility as people, or as
yes,
a Christian community. So that's just what I feel about that.
okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean, those who are listening to us, please feel free to drop your own line and your comment on our hot topic tonight. We're eager to hear from you. If you're not seeing me tonight, my apologies. You're not seeing my beautiful face tonight.
Oh yes, we are.
But
I'm seeing it. Yes, it is. I'm seeing your
you're
face.
seeing a picture, but you're not seeing me live. Not doing 100%, but I am still here with you because I vow to keep your company tonight. So bear with me
Oh,
tonight.
kudos,
All things
kudos.
being equal, you'll see me live and direct next week. All
Oh,
right, so we are going straight into our segment, uh, Power in Relationships. But before we do, we have a little something we want to play for you before we go into that segment, and it promises to be good. So stay with us.
money, money,
All
money,
right.
huh? Some folks.
I hear that song and it reminds me of the of Lotto. Ah,
Lady Miss, a lot of people win the lotto and go broke, Isn't that amazing?
I know, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Uh,
All right, guys, we are dancing into power in relationships. And of
yes.
course, tonight we're talking about money.
And we have two amazing
Yes,
ladies in the
yes.
house tonight, two amazing, powerful Black women who are going to be
Right.
talking to
So
us
let
and
me go straight
sharing.
into their introductions.
Yes.
So, of course, tonight we're talking about Till Death Do Us Part, and death is DEBT. And tonight, to engage us in the conversation, we have Dr. Minetta Edwards. She has 25 plus years experience working as a financial services professional. She has over 8 years working experience as well as a lecturer at Northern Caribbean University in marketing and management. She has a Bachelor's of Science from NCU and an MBA from UTech and a DBA from Walden University. She has a wealth of experience in finance, debt consolidation, and investment. Also, to join her in the conversation tonight, we have Dr. Candace Drummond. She is an educator and a philanthropist, CEO of Avid Intellectual. And Avid Intellectual Inc. is a full service counseling and psychological organization with more than 20 years of experience providing testing, training, and counseling services for the Southwest and Central Florida areas. Avid Intellectuals professional staff supports clients by providing culturally sensitive counseling and quality psychological evaluations for educational, government, and corporate organizations. Consultation services consists of identifying and creating recommendations to combat mental health issues faced by public safety agencies, human services departments, adult and juvenile court services units, and private practices. So we have two very powerful women here tonight, and they're going to help us to unpack this topic
And
tonight. Good
yes,
night, ladies.
yes, remember, guys, you're not going to see Lady Misty, but she's here. She's in the blue, that nice blue top, and the hair is flowing down like a real African queen. But she's here with us. So you don't see her, but she's here. Yes. So welcome, welcome. You can unmute your
Thanks for
mic.
having me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yes, good night, ladies. Before we begin, just want to let those who are watching via YouTube and listening to us that you are free to drop a line and make your comments, or you can, if you have any questions as well, you send them in, and we are happy to get them answered for you as best as we can. All right. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
Good
How
night.
are we
Thanks
doing?
for having me.
How are
Awesome.
we doing this evening?
Happy to be alive and well.
All
Yes.
right,
Well,
that's great.
as some of you may know or may not know, but Dr. Candace is no stranger to us. So we're just glad to have her back. And
Yes,
that's
we are.
and because last time she had us wanting more, so we're gonna pick her brain tonight, y'all. So y'all get your questions ready, get your pens out, because we're gonna pick that brain of hers, because she got a lot going on in there. I'm telling you. Yes.
Thank you for
Yes,
having me back. I appreciate it.
Yes, awesome.
You are most welcomed. All right. So I want to throw the first question at Dr. Edwards because she has some amount of experience in financial services. How important is having money?
Wow. That is wow. That is a very loaded question because
Uh,
we all need it for one reason or the other.
yes.
And in every aspect of our life, it is important that we have some of it. Yes. We have some amount of it. Yes.
All right. I know we're talking tonight, and the questions and the conversation will surround couples and how they manage money and the various conflicts that can arise out of money and management and so on. Have you, in your experience, have you ever dealt with uh, couples um, and guiding them through the process of managing their money, whether together or apart? And what was that like if you've had that experience?
Yes, I would have had that experience while working in the financial services sector. And this is a very vexed issue because if we are a couple, if we are happily married, there is no you, there is no me, there is just us. Yes?
Mm.
And
Yes.
I believe, it is my profound view that as long as we are married, and marriage is of God, the union is of God. And if we were so moved by some, um, by the power of God that we join
Mm-hmm.
together in that
Mhm.
union, God's voice come with courage, then we shouldn't be afraid to share our deepest, or darkest, or most valuable experiences with each other, because as I said, there is no you, there is no me, it's just us.
Yes.
I have a
Uh, go ahead, DJ.
yes, I have a question for Dr. Candace, but I'm going to ask Dr. Edwards this question real quick.
Hmm.
Okay.
Now, with your years of experience that you've had with money and financial issues, how do you look at money now after your years of experience prior to you having this experience with money?
How
How
do
do you
I look
view
at money
money?
now? Can you
Yes,
break that down?
because there are people who in their younger days,
Hmm.
and I can speak for myself, 1920, money comes in, it goes out, it comes, it goes out. You don't really think too much about it, especially not having the background of good financial planning, from cousins or brothers or sisters, or you really don't have that strong sense of it. So it comes and it goes.
Okay.
But then you get married now, and then all of a sudden you realize that the baby's coming, you got to prepare for the milk, and the car notes being paid, and the rent got to be paid. And thinking, oh my God, I don't know how to budget properly. You're trying to find yourself, so you look
All
at money
right.
differently now. Are you desperate? I became now desperate rather than become smart, and so that affected the way I looked at money, how I treated money. So that's kind of
Okay.
where I'm kind of coming from.
I will answer you this way. You
Yes.
shouldn't start looking at it at that point
Mm-hmm.
when you are going to be starting a family and this is going to be happening. You shouldn't be frightened about that.
Right.
As you grow up, and I always use this quote in my when I do these financial talks and so on, talks about money. Do not, do not, never ever save after you spend. Save before you spend. And if you are so cultured, as you go along, when the time comes and you're married and all these things starts happening to you, your life starts changing, you're now expecting a child and so on, and you have to be spending on other things that you would not normally be spending on,
Mm.
then this save before you spend comes in so handy because you're cultured that way. So you
Mm-hmm.
would have had that little nest egg coming up as you go along. So when you start working, as soon as you start earning, save, save before you spend. Because you never know how things might turn out. When you start spending, then you save. That is when you run into the challenges.
Thank you for that, Dr. Edwards. And my question for Dr. Candace is that, and I've known you long enough to see some transition in your life, Doctor. And I saw an image of you that was very impressed. And I saw you with a picture looking very happy when technically a lot of people would be sad, looking sad. And I think you were given a story in that picture that was very powerful to me. So I know you've had some transition lately, and I'd like for you to talk about that. And I'm sure it'll be very impactful. And of course, money, I'm sure, is a part of it as well. Because when life changes financially, of course, we also have to make adjustments too. And some of us don't take it too well. We get depressed and we're going Prozac and we get on, we don't know what to do. So just talk to us about your transition within the last few months, Doctor.
So I actually want to start out talking a little bit about what you said about finances and relationships. The number one cause for divorce or couples therapy is typically finances. Wow. The number one cause. It's not infidelity. It's not, a lot of these other things that seem to kind of pop more to mind. It's differences in spending habits. I spoke with actually a friend of mine earlier today who identified this as this number one reason why her and her husband got divorced earlier this year. Wow. Because while they were together, he was the type that would, buy the 75-inch TV on credit, he was the type that would have, the newest car with the highest car payments, paying $800 a month for a Cadillac Escalade, things like that. And she, on the other hand, was very, very mindful about money. I've known her for several years, more than a decade. And she has always been very wise about money and, bought her own house, very early on in her 20s. Her first home was able to buy, use the proceeds from that sale to go ahead and buy yet another house with her husband, all of these things. She's very, very, very good with money. And because of that rift, actually a year into their marriage, he used her credit to buy the 75-inch TV.
Wow.
And
he went large. He went big. I'm going all the way. Okay.
And and so that like I say can lead to some serious, rifts and whatnot. And again, I totally agree with Dr. Edwards as far as marriage being a religious thing, a connection under God, but in the reality of today's world, marriage is still a business contract. I mean, if we look back in the days of dowries, which still exist in some parts of the world, where you had to pretty much pay this other family to take your daughter, so your daughter has to come with a dowry. They need some kind of incentive to allow your into their family. That whole thought of marriage being a business arrangement. We're looking at Blake Shelton and what is that lady's name? The one on The Voice, I think. But these two celebrities, they've been teasing about getting engaged and getting married for almost this whole year, and they finally got engaged. Still no marriage date, but they're working on their prenup. Gwen Stefani, thank you so much. Gwen Stefani.
Yes, Gwen Stefani. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
I'm not very big into the media world, but I see this, and this is what is pretty much kind of giving them some pause, is that they need to work out this financial agreement before they decide to get married. She's worth about 150 million. He's about 100 million. And so, that's 50 more million on my side that I don't necessarily want to go to your side. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, you know, we have to kind of think about that. And then when we talk a little bit, like I say, about my view of money, and I think that brings us back to what you asked me, you know, the first time, like kind of the transition that I've had this year. I've told my father ever since I was a little girl, I've been broke all my life, but I've never been poor.
Wow. Love that. Say it again, please. Say it again. I like that.
I've been broke all my life, but I've never been poor.
Wow. That's
because
deep.
In my mind and in my father's mind, like no matter what, because my whole life, my father has been poor. He's been poor in his mind.
Wow.
My parents they have arrived. I mean, they live in like a 15,000 square foot house. It's like the biggest house on the block, you know, and my father rides around his little riding mower, you know what I'm saying? Like they have arrived, but if you talk to him, he will still come from a place of scarcity. He'll still come from a place of, you know, well, I can't spend this money because I don't know if any more is out there, if any more is available to come to me. I don't know what's gonna happen next. And yes, you know, that does create some good saving habits, you know, like Dr. Edwards also pointed out, you know, he saves first. You know, he's always saving, you know, like he gets $20 and it stays in his pocket for a year, you know, like that's my dad, you know, so like he's always saving. However, you know, he's also, like I said, living in this poor kind of mindset. Earlier this year, my company almost collapsed, you know, when COVID first hit, my contracts were with the government, were with schools. Government offices closed, schools closed, my company pretty much closed.
Didn't see it coming. No one saw it coming.
Yeah, exactly. You know, my recession-proof company, by the way, because I have government contracts and school contracts, the government will never close, right? I mean, that's ridiculous. And then, you know, the ridiculous happened. Right?
Wow.
And so, you know, I was left with, you know, rent on 13 locations, plus my home, which I had recently relocated to Atlanta. So I had my own home rent. I had 13 office locations rent, all of which were, I mean, it almost immediately went into arrears. 3 months. We had about 3 months reserved. But yeah, you know, went into, you know, being late, or, you know, so we had to start working out different measures with the different landlords. Most of them allowed us to end the lease, you know, gave us some sort of penalty if it was applicable, that sort of thing. Yeah. But I quickly found myself without a place to live. And that was terrifying, as I have a 4-year-old daughter and I am a single mom. It's really just me. My parents are, like I said, they're doing well and everything, but it's not the type of relationship where I can be like, hey mom, I'm gonna come home and, you know, move in for a couple of months. That was not really the dynamic. And so I exactly, when we pivot, right? We find, and I love that word. That's like the star word for 2020, pivot. Everybody,
yes.
Everybody is saying this word, and I my pivot was to move to Jamaica. So in July of this year, I moved my daughter and myself from Atlanta, Georgia, to the island of Jamaica. I live here now. My daughter is in a really good school, and the post that DJ KTE mentioned is really, I was sharing that story, you know, I was sharing that I had lost almost everything. My company collapsed. I found myself on the verge of homelessness. But like he said in that picture, you know, I'm sitting on the beach, you know, eating fried fish with my fingers, and you know, I'm happy. I'm living my best life. You know,
that was great. That was really, that's powerful. Yeah, that really.
And what I found out was really, you know, I found out that I could be happy in today without knowing what was coming tomorrow. And like I said, I live in a wealth kind of mindset, you know, that, you know, well, I mean, I am rich, you know, regardless of what my bank account says. You know, that's just temporary, but I'm rich, you know, I don't know about anybody else, you know, like that's what I used to say to my dad, like, you can be poor, daddy, but I'm rich, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what you're doing, but, and so, you know, in the last couple of weeks, I've managed to sign a few new clients and contracts. COVID actually allowed me to run my company a lot more remotely. So now I get to live across the street from the ocean, and yeah, life is good.
Wow.
And I can save again.
There you go. You know, doctor, you said you left from Georgia to Jamaica, but if you were in Georgia, you really didn't leave anywhere. You really are in Jamaica, really.
Right?
Georgia.
So, I love Atlanta. Like, I mean, that's somewhere that I think I'll own a home or a condo or something. I love Atlanta.
Wow.
Awesome. Dr. Edwards.
Uh-huh.
I want to ask you a question, Dr. Edwards. You mentioned about money and savings. What would you say is a good ideal way for a couple to really manage their money? Because, you know, some folks want to have their own spending money. They want to have money maybe for the bills or for those kind of things. So what one of the ways you can give us a good system of how that can work for a married couple?
Okay, remember I said save before you spend.
Yes.
So as a couple, you come together, because remember, it's now us. So you come together with both your salaries, you save, and then you start thinking about the bills. And saving, I mean, not just having a savings account, but it also includes your investments.
Okay.
Yes. So for me, marriage is this togetherness. You make the decisions as one, because we are now one. Yes. And I heard what Dr. Candace said about marriage being a business. It depends on how you are cultured, because in my culture, for me personally, marriage is not a business. Yes, but I get it where they are cultured to pay this money and that sort of thing. I get that. But real marriage, in my mind, is not a business.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question for Dr. Candice and Dr. Edwards. You can weigh in as well. Handling money can be stressful, whether one has little or a lot. So how do we mentally navigate that? You know, there's a saying that says more money, more problems.
What I'll take it first, and then I'll hear what Dr. Drummond has to say.
Okay.
If you have little, yes, then it's highly unlikely that if you're a good manager of your money, it's highly unlikely that you will want to be thinking of things that your amount cannot stretch to. And handling money, it's all about having this self-control.
Okay.
Yes, it's not just about having a lot of, because there are some persons who have a lot of money and it's still not enough. And there are some persons who has little money and it is, you wonder how they do it. They do so much with it. So it's all about your level of self-control, what you want as opposed to what you really need, and so on. So when it comes to money, it's not just about thinking that I have so little and I need so much more. It's about self-management, self-control, very important.
Okay. Dr. Drummond?
Yeah, I also agree that the management of money within a relationship is really comes down to each person managing themselves. Like you say, it's self-control. And I just wanted to clarify when I said marriage as a business arrangement,
I
I didn't
understand.
only mean in those cultures. I mean, in the United States, if you get married, your taxes are now intertwined. If your husband has a debt, you have that debt too. I mean, that's a business arrangement. That's now, you know, like I said, that's now you're acquiring this other person's debt or credit or whatever it
But
is.
Candace, let me interject, because
Sure.
if at the point where two mature adults come together and they decide that they are going to get married, I cannot understand why there should be any secrets. So you tell me what it is all about. Tell me what is happening on your side of the fence. And I tell him what is happening on my side of the fence. No, I firmly believe that telling me the truth, tell me the truth, and you tell me the truth, and I said to you, okay, fine. I understand your situation. I hear what you're saying, but I do not know. I cannot deal with it at this point in time in my life. And we move on from each other. Because honesty for me, it is so very important that it really hurts and it scares me. Yes, but it is that important. I do not know that you had you. I do not want to find out that you owe all this money a week, a month, a year into my marriage. I want to know before, so I know if I should continue or not. So tell me up front. I want to know. That's me. And I think that if more couples are honest with each other at the outset, I really don't think there should be so many marriages that are going haywire. Some
So,
marriages end during the honeymoon. So I think if they had really gone to God, being honest with each other and so on, honestly, I do not think that would happen. And that's my take.
so Doctor Edwards,
Mhm,
I grew up in a church background, not now but then.
mhm,
And at in my early years, probably maybe I would say my parents' age, they were told that going to school, getting an education was a problem. It was considered secular or not Christian. So I'm hearing in the church for many years ago that they let business seem as if it's the bad word. I think Christ paid taxes, you know.
mhm.
But I'm trying to understand when it's a business concept, because I don't see how we can do life without business being a part of that element. I don't know if that's possible. I think the people do sloppy business, because if someone doesn't tell the truth about money, then they're doing sloppy business. They're not being good business. They're not being a good steward. But I'm talking about being a good steward. He talks about the three. You gave talents to three people. You gave one and one two and one five, and they're meant to do something with that kind of talent. And some did well and some did poorly, and I mean one did poorly. But I think it's a part of the church. I believe it's intertwined as far as. So I'm a little curious just to know if it's a bad thing for you to attach business to a marriage. I'm just curious about that.
I am not sure I understand what you mean when you say attach business to a marriage. I am really not sure what you mean, but I do not think the institution of marriage is just about um, the money side, the monetary side of things. It's a holistic approach. Everything is involved in it, including money.
Okay.
Dr. Drummond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with all of that. But in in the concept, to me, the concept of equally yoked comes to mind here, because now we're again back to Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton. If we look at them on a macro level, we would say, yes, these are two equally yoked with people. They have similar net worths. They have, you know, similar experiences in life. They have similar values, etc., etc. But as I pointed out, one is worth $50 million worth more than the other. I'm going to enter this relationship with Blake, and I say to him, okay, I'm worth 150. He says to me, I'm worth 100. We're honest. We're totally honest. But now we're going to enter this relationship, and just because I've entered this relationship, I'm going to lose $25 million, you know, because now he's going to get half of, you know, what I have, you know, like I say, immediately, because that is the business arrangement by law. By law, the person that you're married to gets half of what you have. Like you say, it's not, there's no longer us. It's, I mean, there's no longer you or me, there's we.
Yeah.
And now, like I said, when we start to consider things like that, yes, I could be equally yoked with someone, but there's this discrepancy financially. We have all the other things, you know, like I said, we went to the same kind of school, same kind of education, same kind of upbringing, same kind of love for kids, same kind of values, all of these beliefs that are the same. But, you know, I'm worth $1 million, he's worth $500,000. And I'm supposed to enter this relationship without considering the business ramifications of this union.
And that is why I said earlier, that it is true that honesty for me is paramount. You say to me, this is my situation. Yes, I say to you, this is my situation. And if it is, there is any doubt, any measure of doubt in my mind that I cannot deal with what you just said to me, Minetta Edwards is not prepared to continue. Yes, and if the other person is not prepared to deal with what Minetta Edwards just said, he is free. Yes, for me, personally, on a personal level, he is free to discontinue. That's me. So all this thing about I have 7, you have 20, and put that together, we both have 27. If we split, you have 13.5. No, that should not ever be a part of my consideration, because you told me ahead of time. I told you we need to make a mature decision. Should we stay or should we go? That's me.
Okay. So I have a question from a viewer that says, is having a secret account a legitimate security blanket or an excuse to be sinister? I know couples over time, depending on the dynamic of the relationship, you may choose to have a joint account, and then there are some couples who say, hey, all right, I'm going to have my own account, you have your own account, and then we have a joint account. So is that a good way to go, or is it a bad way to go? What are your thoughts,
Yeah,
ladies? What
good
are your
questions.
thoughts, ladies?
I do not think I have the authority on on which to speak on that, because I've never been married. However, when I do, I hold this honesty thing. It means so much to me, and there shouldn't be any secret. Yes. So for me, secret in my marriage is a no-no. So if I have an account with just my name on it, it's not a secret. The husband should know.
Yes.
For me, that's it. So there is no secret. If my name alone is on it, it's no secret. He knows I have it, because I've been working in situations where it is true that this particular account you have should have just your name based on principles and policies of that particular organization.
Right.
But it's not a secret. The husband knows about it. If he has one, so be it. I know about it.
So Dr. Edwards, so you talk about someone who's married, and the topic says, "Till death do us part." So now, if you marry someone and you vow to be with them until life, for life, do you stick it out with them, even though the debt becomes an issue?
Okay. All right. Debt in marriage is something that both parties are aware of. And if it is that one party is no longer able to contribute their amount to pay down that debt, the other party continues until the other party is able to join in again. Yes, because there can be several reasons why there is debt in the marriage.
Right.
Can be like you want to own your own home, you took out a mortgage. Yes, you work separate places, you're going to need two separate cars. Yes, so together we pay the mortgage, and I would agree to foot my car loan, he foots his car loan. If for whatever reason one of us cannot do it, for whatever reason, loss of job, whatever it is, then the other person will take on the load that is there now, the expenses that are there now.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Drummond, what do you think about the separate accounts, and is it
So
something that you personally agree with? No? Yes?
I know lots of different couples that deal with their money in different ways. For instance,
Okay.
my parents have been married for 40, almost 44 years.
Okay.
So they do, I would say, literally everything together. My father will say, me and my wife are one. Like that, they make the decisions together. They just, like she says, they take out the mortgage together, even if it's just my mom's name on it because of credit, or my dad, even if it's just one name, they make the financial decisions together. Both of their salaries go into a joint account, both of their salaries. However,
Okay.
they each both have separate accounts. And again, they're not secret. They're simply, personal accounts. My mom has one at a credit union, for the good interest rates or whatever. My dad has one that was connected to an old job a long time ago. And so they keep these things, and they put, whatever money they decide goes into either one, but both of their salaries are dumped into the joint account, from which the home bills, the food, all of the joint things are purchased, and the joint savings is decided from that account. All of that is how they do it. However,
Right.
I also know my cousin, who he and his wife have been together for about 17 years, and they've never had a joint account. They've never had a joint account. What they do is, every time that they make a financial decision together, they bought several houses, et cetera, they split the cost of whatever it is down the middle. They each provide that half, and whatever their extra money is their own business. So they make the decision together based on, okay, yes, I can afford this. Yes, I can afford this too. They give their halves in order to maintain the joint possessions, and they keep their money separate. And like I said, that they've been together 17 years. This works for them. I would go along with Dr. Edwards too. I can't necessarily say what I would do because I've never been married, but I would probably say maybe even the polar opposite of Dr. Edwards, in that, I've built my life, I've built my fortune, I've, whatever that I've built on my own. And I'm not gonna just split it because we signed some paper together. Like that's not okay with me. And I understand that, yes, I will love you. Yes, it's before God, but things change. I mean, I personally have been in relationships before, and the fact that I'm single means that 100% of my relationships have failed. That's where I'm at, So if we're going by, the best predictor of the future is the past, if I'm going by that logic, which is perfectly logical, there's no other reason for me to think otherwise, then, and even if a relationship lasts for 17, 20 years, but this is money that I've worked and I've built, and it's something I built before we met. Again, I'm not okay necessarily with all of that going to you. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. But I've never been married. And so I can't necessarily speak to that because, but I would be probably more on the side of what my cousin has done with his wife, where, my money is over here, your money is over here, and we pay for our stuff together.
Wow. So let me throw this in there real quick. Because some people, they come from a very strong religious traditional background. So, for instance, the Bible said, a man should leave his mom and dad and cleave to his wife. So now she becomes the most important thing, or he becomes the most important thing. Forget about kids and mom and everything else. You are one now. All right. So now you have, you might have built an empire before. You might have had your own house and whatever you had, and you want to leave that for your kids or for your generation to come. Now you're getting married. I want to know, if this is man or woman take on the most important role now, because they are supposed to be the one. Remember, as far as the Bible said it, it's not kids or mom or cousins or auntie, it's husband or wife. Who gets the credit for this house that you built and houses that you built? Does it go to the kids, or now he's half his or half hers because now you're married? How would it address that on Dr. Edwards?
Okay. I'm going to go back to what I just said. If I think that I have this empire that I built by myself, and I feel this way about being honest in the marriage and everything, then, and I don't want to share it. I don't want, because I signed some paper, it has to be split now and all of that. Then don't get married. That's me. That's me. And if it is, there is 1 ounce of fear. I know this is not of God, because God's voice comes with courage. So if there's 1 ounce of fear, not me. I ain't gonna proceed.
So what are you saying, Doctor? You're saying now you would actually, if the marriage comes, then he as much as you own that place, he owns it as well. That just you and him. That is I got you.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes, and if I do not justify that, okay, this is the person, whatever, then I am going to be single. I'm not going to be married and worried about what will happen if.
I see your point.
No, that's not me. I don't want to be in that situation, and I ask God, when it's time, show me a sign. Yes, and I know that God's voice comes with courage. There is not going to be any question. I know that.
Well, I got to honor your faith. On each other's faith.
Yes.
Because we come from different perspective.
And when we pray, we be specific with God. So when it comes, that's why we're going to have the courage, because you're going to say, okay, fine. I ask God that he's tall and dark and handsome and whatever. And you see this person, God sent him. Yes, because you're going to pray about it. Yes.
I understand. There's another question that I want to ask, and probably Dr. Drummond can jump on this one first. We've been talking about money, and there's a question that came in talking about men and taking care of their spouses and wives. Now, we both earn, but there is a notion that men give allowances. And Keith, you were married, so you can help me.
You put me in a spot now. Huh? You see that?
Because you're a man. You're a man, so I don't know.
So in other words, what's mine is hers, And what's hers
the
is hers,
the
right? Is that what
the
you're trying to tell me?
tradition is, so the tradition is, even though we're both working and so on, the men give a little extra. Is that through the door now?
Well,
Has that always been the case?
you know, the world is it is so polarized now. I don't know what is anymore. I mean, some men sit home and the wife take care of them. You know, the boy toy thing going on. They have the cool goals going on with the young boys. Then they got these men. So it's my ego. I'll take care of everything. I got this. You know, I mean, the thing is that for me, I was married, yes, for almost 19 years. So I've experienced the single and the married. And
Right.
as a male, my wife at the time worked more than I did. And
Okay.
because there wasn't money management, we, at least in my part in a way, which was terrible, I think not having good managing skills, I didn't see where the money went properly. So it seemed as if it was so unbalanced. And if she thought it was much more
Okay.
what it was, I had to accept it because it wasn't visual to us. And
Okay.
but I believe that as a male, culturally, I was raised that if she makes $100,000
Mhm.
and I make $25,000, when I
Mhm.
go out, I want to pay for her. You know, I want to still foot the bill. I don't go based on what she has as a
Okay.
woman. If I can cover all the expenses in the house, if I could, and she was making all the money, it would still give me joy to fulfill all
Mm.
those bills in the house. But that's just me. That's just my personal thing. Um,
Okay.
but but I
Okay.
yeah, but I think that it's these days there's some of the variances that it's like what works for you, and once you
Right.
find peace and happiness and you find a centeredness in that, then I
Mhm.
think that's the way to go.
Okay. Ladies, you have any thoughts on that?
As I said, it would be unfair for me to comment on the allowance part of it and so on and so forth
Mhm.
because I'm not married now. I've never been married. So
Okay.
it's unfair for me to really comment on that and everything. But for the sake of the argument, I would say that for me in my marriage to come, I know it's soon,
All
but
right.
Well,
yes,
congratulations. All
yeah.
right.
Um, because there isn't any separation of powers, so to speak. We both have access to whatever there is. I cannot see an allowance issue because if it is I need something, I
Mhm.
go out and get it. Go out, he needs something, he goes out and get it. So I am not seeing where the allowance would be
Okay.
necessary because each person has access to whatever
Mm,
resources are there.
gotcha.
Okay. All right. Dr.
I
Drummond.
guess I would answer the same. You know, the only example I have is my parents. You know, I mean, like I said,
Yes.
I've never been married, but my
Right.
mother has always been the breadwinner. She's always earned more money than my father,
Mhm.
and she has always given him an allowance.
Wow, that's
He
different.
does have access. He does
Okay.
have
That's
access
That's
to
different.
interesting.
he
Yeah,
does
that's
have access,
interesting.
like I said, to the joint accounts because remember, you know, both of their salaries go into the joint account. So, but again, you know, my mom kind of manages the finances. So, you know,
Yes.
if he's gonna go to Home Depot and use the joint card, he's gonna call mom first. You know, hey, can I buy this air conditioner on off of the Home Depot card? Is that cool? You know, or off of the Chase card or the bank? You know, they'll
There was
discuss.
communication.
Exactly. They'll
That was good.
always discuss, you know, whatever. But
Okay.
but overall, my mom has always given my dad, you know, like, you know, a couple bucks just to keep in his pocket because again, like I said, my dad won't spend, but you know, she'll give him money so that at least he has some money on him. So, you know,
Yeah.
like,
It's there. It's there. It's on me. You didn't spend it, but it's on me.
but it's on me
That's good
exactly.
enough.
Like, you know, she want to make sure, you know, okay, you got like, you know, $20, $100, whatever it is, so that you know when he picks up the kids, you know, if something happens, he needs to go to McDonald's, he can, you know, do that or whatever, you know, any kind of, you know, thing that kind of comes up, and that's always been the dynamic that they've had.
Right.
And
Okay.
but I don't know. I've never gotten an allowance, so I
Yeah, and it's unlike Dr. Drummond, the dynamic you spoke about earlier with that husband and wife. That husband was spending on the big screen and TV and all of that.
yeah, like I say, I mean, if that's the type of person that he is, then now it's like, okay, well, I can't give you access because you're gonna do this. But I totally understand what Dr. Edwards says, and I like I say, it's awesome. God is awesome, and the faith that she has is greater than most, and I think that's amazing and so commendable. Maybe my faith is not quite as strong, so I do have some fears, even when things may appear as though they're good or they're right or whatever, but I don't feel that it needs to be that dichotomous where it's like, okay, well, either we're gonna share everything and totally believe everything, or I'm gonna be alone. Like, I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think there are different levels to companionship, and maybe, like you said, maybe marriage is just not the direction. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know. I've never done any of them, so this is all just off the top of my head.
and Dr. Edwards, interesting, Candace. But Dr. Edwards, you within the financial world and your knowledge, your expertise, and your experience, what's the common thread that you notice that Black people are lacking as it returns to
That's a good
money?
question.
What do you see, and what would you want to address, or what have you addressed mostly in your experience?
I think it's planning. We are too impulsive.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
if we plan more and stick to the plan, the challenges, the bulk of the challenges will go away. I get my salary, I'm on my way home, I stop at the supermarket and there's a store across the road. Wow, that looks nice. I just go in and just buy it. I just got my pay. Yes. So if we plan, yes, not that I can't buy something out of my pay, but let's plan first. Let's do the planning and then we do the spending. And stop being so impulsive. There are some must have that we really don't need to have. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm hearing Dr. Edwards. I mean something called strategic or strategy. I'm hearing that in your communication there. But as it relates to say how can I put it? Because this is where I think that I say Blacks, we are impulsive when it comes to money and how we handle it. But how would you address, because I'm hearing a lot of people, other cultures use insurance as a way of wealth building. A lot of folks don't feel it's important to take out insurance, even the young people, because there are many ways of you can probably have it for 10 years and don't pay anymore and you're covered for life, or you can have some with savings. Are you familiar with those things? How would you address those in our community, having more of those things in our portfolio?
Okay, in terms of insurance, there are lots of persons who are averse to insurance, even for their motor vehicles, because they are saying that I have been paying it for 10 years, nothing happened, where did all that money go? But there are times when, like a stroke of bad luck, a day,
Life.
two after a day or two after your car policy expires, you didn't get a chance to go, something happens. I've seen so many of those instances in my experience. Health insurance is something that I would encourage everybody to have. And there are persons who are saying, yes, I've been working here for 10 years. I've not even had the flu, that sort of thing, and so on. But health insurance is extremely important. Um, and there are other insurance policies that persons may have in addition to their regular insurance policies that I think are important too, because these critical illness policies now have become very popular, and
Mm-hmm.
there are persons who um, may want to have that as well. So for me, insurance is based on your choice. Your choice of insurance is based on what you believe and your tolerance, but it is something I strongly recommend. And remember, in finance
Mm-hmm.
we can always recommend. However, it is
Mm-hmm.
up to the client. You come to me, you say, this is my situation, have two children, I'm married, still paying a mortgage and so on, I need something for my child's education and so on. We can go ahead and we can tell you all the stuff we have and so on, but
Mm-hmm.
you make the final decision.
Wow. Would you also say would you also say, Dr. Candace? I'm gonna have you speak on that, but after that, after you address her, I'm gonna have you answer this question as well. How important it is for Black sharing information? I think I find in my experience, we Blacks don't share as much information with each other, and so we left, not really just in a drought, because if you look at the even escape routes in the city, the whites know where they are. They learn these things in emergency. They know where to go, what to do. I mean, we lost. We like, what's going on? So how would you address that, Candace, after you?
Well, I want to go back quickly to the insurance question, just because in 2019, I actually became a licensed insurance agent in Florida because I wanted to learn more about money. And I kept hearing white people, like you said, talk about insurance as some kind of vehicle
Yeah.
toward wealth.
Yes.
And so I wanted to know. I didn't understand anything, and I needed to. And so I learned things like the term life insurance policies, the ones that are gonna run out. So it's usually for when your life is the most has the most pressure. So, like you say, I'm, 45 years old. I've got, 3 kids, one that just started college. I've got, car payments. I've got mortgage payments. I got all of these responsibilities on my back during this part of my life that, I can buy term life insurance, which allows me to get a much larger death payout for lower money, like lower premiums.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, at the end of this period, whatever the term is, then if I haven't died or had some sort of qualifying event, then then the policy is ended. Those are the ones I hear, a lot of folks complain about, well, I had the term life policy for 10 years and the 10 years went by, I paid, nothing happened, and all my money went down the drain for that 10 years. There are policies with what they call return of premium riders. So there are these different riders that you can get on these term life policies. The one that stood out for me is a return of premium rider, which is actually a very common rider that is put onto the insurance policy. It does make the monthly payments just a little bit higher, but as the name says, at the end of the 10-year period, should there not be any issues, you're not going to get the death payout, obviously, but you will get the amount of the premiums that you paid returned to you. Nice. And so that is very valuable for, like I say, especially after that period in your life has passed. Okay, the kids are out of college now, the house is paid off, the cars are paid off, all of that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. It's better now. So now you get this return of period premium you can use on what they call a IUL, indexed universal life insurance policy. These are whole life, so they actually go, some of them up to 150 years. Again, this is something you need to discuss with the insurance agent about your particular policy when it ends, because I could be whole life, but it ends at 90 years old. So if you live to 95, then you get nothing.
Wow.
So
Wow.
again, be mindful. But an indexed universal life policy allows you to take advantage of the ups in the in the stock market without the risk of the downs. So they'll give you a smaller range for what it is you can get on your, on your percentage. And so there is the premium that you pay, there is the amount that you can borrow against, and then there's the death payout in a IUL. And so that amount that you can borrow against, that can grow based on you paying your premiums, ahead of time. That can grow based on, again, the interest rate based on the stock market, going up or down. So you can get, as high as sometimes 12% interest on your money from the indexed universal life insurance policy. So again,
great stuff.
And so again, not only will that give you a death payout, you can get a disability payout. So again, if you are disabled to the point that you cannot work, but you did not die, because again, there are a lot of whole life insurance policies that only pay out if you die. But if you're severely injured and you cannot work, you can't, take care of yourself, but you didn't die, there are, again, riders that can be attached onto these IULs that will allow for disability payouts at a usually a slightly lower amount than the full death benefit payout. But these death benefit payouts, like you say, allow for the family to use insurance as a stepping stone for the next generation. Many of Black people, a lot of us suffer from pre-existing conditions like diabetes, high cholesterol, all of these sorts of things. And so those limit our access to, larger policies, because again, we can't pay the premium because we have these existing conditions. And so a lot of us will settle for these final expense policies. These final expense policies, you're spending $80, $100 a month or whatever on it, and all you get at the end is maybe $10,000, $15,000, which is really just enough for the funeral and, maybe a weekend at Disney World. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be something that is gonna actually propel the family forward, as opposed to these IULs that could pay out at millions of, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. The founder of McDonald's used insurance payout from his father in order to start McDonald's, because it was enough to actually create a business. Wow. So when we talk about, and then again, these other insurance products, that are called annuities, I never even heard of an annuity, before I got my insurance license. The only way that I knew how to save was savings account at the bank or CD, a certificate of deposit. Those were all that I knew. I didn't know anything else. And I thought a CD was so great with their 2.5% interest.
Yeah, me too.
It's like so great. But then I learned about annuities. You can get an annuity. AIG, one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, offers an annuity that you put in $10,000. Yes. And you can actually get $20,000 in payouts immediately.
Oh, wow. That's good information, doctor.
It's just because what they're doing is you're not getting 20,000 back in one lump sum. You understand? Because they're taking your 10,000, investing it on this stock market with these high, return rates. They're able to tell you, okay, no problem. We'll double it. Just go ahead and put it in our annuity, and we're going to double it. Whatever you put in, we'll double it automatically. Oh, wow. We've got other ones that they double every 7 years, every 10 years. There are things like these, that have for 1 year a return of 22%.
Oh, wow. That's good stuff. Wow. Good stuff.
That's great stuff. Dr. Drummond, now I see why when I'm watching these crime documentaries, so many couples kill each other for the insurance money.
Absolutely.
Wow,
I went ahead and bought an annuity. I'm like, well, shoot, I'm gonna leave it. I don't need it right now, but should anything happen to my daughter, or when I'm ready to send her to college, my annuity will be mature, and I can just send her to college on my own dime.
Yes.
Wow, that's really good. It's very good for couples, and when we talk about couples, we we really don't confine it to marriages alone. Remember, we have common law situations, or we have couples who have been together for a while. And there is a comment from a listener that I want to read, and it says, in marriage, please remember the parties have personal financial goals that may cause the marriage to have a better power in the future. So both persons may understand the level at which one person is before making goals together. And it continues to say egos and money are two of the big things that cause financial issues.
True.
So that's the comment there from Ray Moore, who is listening to us tonight.
Yes.
We are almost out of time. We're almost out of time, but there is a question that I wanted to ask, and it's asking, how do we build a family brand in order to leverage all our talents and gifts, like for example the Kardashians and the Chrisleys of this world? What is the ingredient that we need to build on our brand as a family or as a couple? How do we go about doing that before we go tonight?
For me, it's just putting all on the altar and let God guide you and follow His direction. That's it for me. And don't do anything on impulse, so to speak. Try to be controlled in your behavior.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. The thing that is going to be important if you're trying to create a family brand, or like you said, even a personal brand, is planning, like acting intentionally. I actually went to a short webinar a little while ago about, asking your family, what does Drummond stand for? What does Edwards stand for? Like when we go out into the street, what do people think of when they hear that name? And so we embody those things every time that we're out.
Wow. So you're giving your name a significance as far as who you are and what you're about, and that by itself can be impacting. That can that's how we change our community, by highlighting, by making that presence so strong that folks will see, they will either ask questions, they'll be curious, and you can impart knowledge, of course. I love it. So again, tonight, we thank you, ladies, for being here with us. You both were phenomenal.
Yes, the conversation was so rich tonight.
Very rich,
I enjoyed
different
it
perspectives
so much.
and different experiences, and it's all good, what I say. And Misty, even though you weren't here in live, but you were here live. You know what I'm saying? We saw you smiling pictures. In fact, you smiled all the way to the program. You never stopped smiling, Misty.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes.
But we're glad that you ladies came on board tonight, and we, like I said, we are in over 60 countries. So who knows who's hearing this voice? And we're thinking, rearranging their mind, their thoughts, and just and we'll be better tomorrow. So that's the idea here. Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you. And you ladies have a great night, and God bless you all.
Okay, thanks for having me. See you.
You're so welcome. God bless you both.
Yes.
Good night.
All the best.
Yes.
So
Bye-bye.
what are we talking about?
Marriage, dating, parenting, business,
and love, emotions, sex.
It's a conversation with me, Lady Misty,
and DJ KTE
on everything from hot topics to taboos.
Join us Mondays at 9 p.m. live on UME Radio.
Follow us at Let's Talk Relationship Show on Facebook or on UME Radio on Instagram. Let's talk relationships, arguments, for the grown.
Get the Yumi Radio app to listen wherever you are. That is